Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nico. My project is called Neon Genesis Neon. Um, this is my blog, the one with the snail textures on it. In the event of the annual Istanbul Tulip Festival, we gaze upon a floating fortress, not of fighting but of trading Venice, and the flight of the Turk above it, a nexus of Istanbul and Neo-Constantinople for the crying on the inside kind of clown. Irresistibly, we diagnose the essential theatre of the mentally ill in the solar tragedian, as there is no shade in the shadow of the cross, and yet we bathe in the sun of the new, and sacrifice our impurity on the altars of our demise. In a play of authenticity and imitation, of traditional values and hypercapitalism, on the stage of finding face in stock characters before the props of our fluid bases.
Tu vivrai con me in un'isola fantastica e un mondo vedrai di lassù, un mondo nascosto nel blu, tutto nuovo per te. La terra sarà senza frontiere, la terra ci porterà fortuna, la luna per noi sarà il domani, se verrai con me sul mio carro tra le nuvole, più avanti del caldo del sole, sull'ultima stella lassù, tu solo con me, io sola con te. La terra sarà senza frontiere, la terra ci porterà fortuna, la luna per noi sarà il domani, se verrai con me sul mio carro tra le nuvole.
Letters of a Late Clown. I saw for the first time before my eyes the drowning of the Pantalone in the Comedy of the Plenty. For reason died the same day the Commedia dell'arte of Venice has, the same day longanimity has. He has tried to run for a long time. He tried to be the Christian aesthetic of comedy. He tried to purge the whole world of its demons, cleanse it of its comedians, but they won't allow it. This is what they want, death, his death, the death of the Pantalone. I woke up from said dream with the sudden realization that I need to move away, to be constantly surrounded by the playful plenty, immersed in and disgusted by the plural of commedia, with dialogue having to be supplied by the invention of the actors themselves. Everybody shall appear with their own mask and hide their emotions in the most authentic way. I long for the place where I can find return to my roots and renaissance of my character, a vivid villa where the miserable and the very rich, the complete idiot and the vivacious fool, the genius and the imbecile in Bill Murray are joined on a stage. A place where I can reflect on my nature, to reunite the Pantalone with his origin, to fulfill my circular crusade, It shall be an island on which I can live the dichotomy of my existence in peace and war. I am adherent to no continent between Byzantine beauty and European longevity. I can by all means pray that all sentient beings may turn towards the peerless way and leave worldly comedy behind them, whilst cleaning off the soil with water before setting foot on my stage. And my stage in turn shall clean their souls of imitation and turn them all into vivid tulips. Chlorine Panopticon. Humid air is chalky with stark and soap and bleach. There lay a heap of withered tulips and copper bowls full of purex chlorine bleach on the tiled ceramic floor. The hall is animated by relentlessly moving abstract figures, blood-red swathes, and neon green lines produced by soaking and sopping bodies and flowers in several ingredients and chemicals. A naked virgin stands on the edge and hesitantly turns towards Bill, calmly playing Beethoven's Piano Sonata No. 14 on his grand piano, edging over the swimmers. If I dip myself in this acid, are you sure my devils will bleach away to pure? Bill laughs, coughing from the... I drink this streaming production daily, and look at me, longanimous as ever. All my children have drunk enough Kool-Aid to dye them permanently red, yellow, orange, green, and blue. Help me lead the world into the fluorescent light. He touches her youthful cheek and gently leads her into the tub. When she rises from the bath, the drops of silvery water and the pink light streaming down her, she senses diffuse nerve pain along the surface of her skin, which no doctor understands, but feels purified to her innermost. Velvet curtain escalier. Naked adolescents and pensioners brush their shoulders and chins in the bleachy tub, waiting Bill's call to join him, looking up into a silent fog, murmuring among tranquil gurgling. The neon bleach in the bowls has evaporated into an invisible cloud. A tasteless, formless, voiceless tempest without lightning or thunder, a neon curtain veiling the virgins, veiling the path upwards to Bill's face. An unending veil, a veil with no edges, at once altogether smooth. A liquid veil, the mask streaming with sweat or blood. The fabric flows like fluid, but is also solid because of the deposits left behind, almost ethereal through evaporation. It accompanies the never-ending spiral staircase towards the top, where embroidery awaits. Only those who are bleached through their skin dare the ascent, are dried through the warmth of sizzling electricity and have their skin stretched flat by the upstreaming gas. In silence, for the carpeted steps extract all noise. An insulated double helix, where ascendants and inscribed glide past each other without touching. Gas and curtains become a veiling screen, permitting no penetration to one's eyes except for that directed back at oneself. The individual essence dissolved into consciousness, no separate beings nor flavors, just one manifestation of formless eternal gummy. It is Bill's body that moves the veil, producing these apparitions in constant metamorphosis, the rhythm upon which everything depends. From time to time, he can be seen running up and down the stairwell in a hurry, covered up to his shoulders in blood of all colors, barging into the harmonious ascendants, disturbing the peace. Interrupted endless foyer. The mob moves towards the last steps, white scraps of paper with numbers on them flying past them, driven by a warm wind, as the staircase starts piling up with sand and forcefully torn off tulip heads. The skyline of Istanbul becomes a blurry painting as its lights fizzle out in orange smog. Large screens show always grainy footage of local appeals and health recommendations, to which everyone is blind, the beautiful and the ugly alike. The white noise mixed with cigarette smoke filling the air functions as a merger into a communal togetherness, constitutes an obligatory preamble to the lottery of acquiring Bill's services. With a quick call to the concierge, you can arrange to have champagne and strawberries, served with amphetamine of choice on a bronze platter, in a suspenseful wait for the ticket's redemption, on an unceasingly stretching timescale while the chaotic monotony of the space is fragmented. Bill lives like a snail in its shell, in a home made to his exact measure, an image of his face concealed by a cloud of grainy red smoke. Only the upper outline of his head is revealed beyond the ladder hanging from above, which creates a slightly menacing quality. The smoke drawn through the dirty ventilator forms a kind of fan. Bill's time can flow along multiple beds, overloaded with visitors in unimaginable pains, their faces bright as white chrysanthemums in bloom or yellow poppies, having forgotten like the columns in the cornice about all their materialistic desires. The sound of a King-song electric unicycle hitting the marble railing outside wakes them from their nightmares and daydreams, dividing all discursive formations, creating a void in the transparent volume. Robert De Niro must have finished his daily lap of the rope to the city again, a periodic infusion of chaos into the cosmos of the foyer. Nothing pleases this intruder more than interrupting the sacrificial work of the tulip factory. The mob, when they are gazing at the dancer on the slack rope, naturally writhe and twist and balance their own bodies as they see him do. Yet when Bill attempts to imitate this flight of the Turk maneuver, he never manages more than 5 steps before falling into the marine blue water and starting the cycle anew. Mea tulpa. Bill holding in his hands the stems of a bunch of withered crocuses, snowdrops, and lilies, as well as a tattoo gun, talking to himself, slowly descending into madness. But these flowers will wither and fail. All flowers do. Mine will resist. At least they'll have a chance. The limestone tulip opens itself, allowing the hot air emerging from pieced holes below to escape to a sizzling noise and helping to blend seamlessly one color pattern into another, using light as dye on the velvet carpet and the bodies of the virgins. These young girls in white, insouciant and vivacious, Bill prepares and dresses with much care and pains in order that the white ground may take the purple hue in full perfection. Inscribing a floral pattern created by repeatedly puncturing the surface of the human skin with a sharp implement, the stem of a wilted tulip, transplanting a living text from one organism to another and vice versa, so as to create an in vivo tattoo. Streaming blood, the life spilled out seems to have a stronger binding and atoning power than any glue or dye could. But Bill is decrepit and imprecise, his tattoos are crooked and oversaturated, he stains everything with blood. Burning, burning, the needle falls from his hand, its contents spilling bleach all over his arms, on which cracks develop, marked by neon scars. As it degenerates, his ritual loses its precision. Robert De Niro interlude. Bill in his ornamental hall, in nightgown and Turkish slippers, sits behind a large desk, writing. A handsome young man enters, stands in front of him a few feet from the desk. Bill continues writing. Take off your clothes. Show me your goods. The man, seemingly a merchant, disrobes and empties his pockets. Bill is not satisfied. To go to war, he asks for more. Now I would like fresh flowers in my room, rare tropical flowers that smell good. I am tired of artificial flowers aping real ones. I would like some natural flowers that would look like fakes, and some synthetic flowers that would look like naturals, and some natural flowers that would look like neon. All I need now is my fluorescent tulip, Turkish red or something similar. I'll arrange any payment you want, anything you want, but bring me it. The young man shakes his head regretfully. I will not, for I cannot control the bulb, because it doesn't want to do what you want to do. It wants to do what the engineers have decided, and they're not aesthetic. I have something else. I brought it home from Constantinople. It was a gift. The fabric of reality, the fabric of the cosmos, the fabric of the neos. Take this neon bulb, for what marks the difference to your tulips? They are all chemical marvels, all denying the passage of time, the traces of natural decay or history's ravages in usage. Let us allow it to gleam and flow. Let us allow it to make forms and become whatever form its essence pushes it to be, wherever the law of flowing compels it. You want to heal. You want to be transformed along the Silk Road. You want to be dressed in cloth of gold. Your fingers must sparkle with gems. You want to be Pantalone. Bill retorts, audiences always liked it when I sparkled. The young man ignores him. You are not Pantalone, because you can never have slippers and tulip at once. You are not king of comedy, because you can never imitate me. You are a fluorescent being who lives entirely in his metamorphosis. You are a fluid basis. You are not faceless, but between your faces. Bill screams in rage, grasping his fate, damning the tulip, or perhaps even just the idea of the wild tulip. He rips his black gown apart, stamps on the neon bulb, which leaks an electric embroidery into the air, and throws his slippers after the man, in all effects Robert De Niro, who leaves the hall in a hurry, passes the fluorescent fields of the neon garden, where blossoms of all tints and electrics radiate towards the morning sky, and notices those whose bulbs Bill had fired as golf balls into the moonshine the night before, growing back vivid as ever, the mirror image of the unchanged body of the Virgin, but never as a tulip. Nailbit Neon Garden Golf. Tulips and light bulbs are joined in a fluorescent ensemble in studious disorder, mingled with fragments of glittering crystal and mock emeralds. One big fluid neon origami trick. The unfolding of Bill's distanceless home, his country, transparent chessboard extending to infinity. He appears amongst them from time to time, in ornamental nightgowns, spraying colorful detergents and longanimously destroying the bulbs with his golf club. Naturals and synthetics all the same, drowned out by his lack of fulfillment, accompanied by evergreen electric whirring, occasional glass shattering, and the growling sound of chewing snails. Those nasty creatures that crawl on the ground and all over the decaying tulips, never relenting their crave for their leaves. To deal with these, it would be necessary to hold them for 48 hours in a snail-free antipond, then they would all die. But every time Bill tries to carry them towards the chlorine bath, to free the stage from its virus, to let the world see his plays, they bite themselves deeper into his floral wounds. This wicked totality becomes an enclosed garden, which, experiencing alteration, is yet unaltered, experiences death and does not decay. And the only one not partaking in it is Bill, drowned in the lights of his excesses, he and his house to be swallowed whole. Lastrum Veneziana. Dancers in black cloak and masquerade walking the bridge through the neon garden, drawn to the fluorescent satellite by the distant splendor of its flower fields. Disjointed murmuring, shouting. I see the veins all shining and fluorescent, bursting like tinted blossoms, playing like geysers of liquid electric color. Looks like that casino in Las Vegas. Interiors are dark and empty, though light from the neon garden enters through the stained windows. Their aesthetic is Byzantine, splintered into thousands of shards, all visible at the same time, a dizzy panoptical populism. A mere fluorescence of decay, a stage dream which the first ray of daylight must dissipate into dust. The ravers have put their masks down, for they are of no longer use, in the space beyond authentic reason, twisting and turning, dancing but not mourning. They're gonna run around, proudly deaf, all just yellow, fluorescently deaf, their feet spiraling, hardly touching the piles of Turkish slippers and Persian carpets on the floor, occasionally colliding with Bill's armoires and bleach canisters. Silly, for they are without gravity. The unrelenting rotation then creates synthetic intimacy between couples who would never have met without its assistance. A cyclical movement to the alternation of two fundamental impulses, love and hate. Marriage through a glass of finest Sangiovese. A dance of two faces, totally consumed by both, twirling around and constituting the vague middle ground. Somehow that, rather than the kisses, was the treaty of peace between them, and between Pantalone, Bill, and Robert De Niro. Bale's White Shot. Cyberpunks and fetishists without masks coming to their senses in the midst of their acid ecstasy, questioning the origin of the foamy fluorescence on the hall's marble floors, and of the distant space between the swathes of e-cigarette smoke and neon gas. They gaze at the vapor wall. The revolution that had allowed Bill to die unhappy might never come to pass. His veil is of woven night, his breath under it resembles the indescribably tragic respiration of death. Yet his faceless spirit is both dead, yet not dead, a restless phantom maintained in the limbo between heaven and hell by his passionate will to talk about comedy, to everyone who is longanimous enough to listen, always on time, but never there. In alabaster white, mystical body, Bill is no longer anything. The ecstatic transfiguration, the loss of the body into the soul removes the tattoo. He has become a totally flayed man, the perfect automaton, kept alive and dead in the cenotaph of the last crusade. Visitors will never see his masquerade, but hear his voice through a screen. I have lived my life as best I could, not knowing its purpose, but drawn forward like a moth to a distant moon.